I pretended I only had 1 month left to live and found out who my wife and my 3 kids really are. My name is Marcus Hale. I am 51 years old, born and raised in Atlanta, a construction project supervisor by profession and a man who believed loyalty held the world together. I built my entire life with my hands, brick by brick, sweat on steel, concrete on my boots, and love in my chest for the people I called family. My wife, Denise, 48, a woman I carried through storms, and my 3 kids, Michael who is 21, Jasmine who is 19, and my youngest, Caleb who just turned 15. If you asked anybody about me, they would say Marcus works hard, loves harder and would die for the people he calls his own, and maybe that is why this story hurts as deep as it does. Because for the first time in my life, I decided to test something I had always feared testing. I pretended I had only 1 month left to live. What I discovered broke me in ways I still do not have words for. It started one quiet Thursday morning, when I sat alone in my truck before heading to the site. My doctor had casually mentioned my blood pressure was high and I needed to slow down. It should have scared me, but instead it made me think, if today was my last month on earth, would the people I fed with my soul do the same for me? I had given too much for too long without ever knowing if I meant something beyond the bills I paid, the house I maintained and the shoulder everyone leaned on. So I made a decision that would reveal everything. I told my wife and children I had a severe heart condition, that the doctor told me I might have only 1 month left if things worsened. I watched their faces closely as I said it, and that moment became the first crack in the walls I thought were unbreakable. Denise did not cry the way I expected. Her lips trembled but her eyes darted away, almost like she was calculating something. She hugged me, but it felt stiff, like I was hugging a stranger. My oldest son Michael simply said, "Damn Pops, that's crazy," and walked outside to take a call he claimed was urgent. Jasmine cried for a few minutes, but she kept checking her phone like she was missing something more important. Only my baby boy Caleb grabbed my arm tight and whispered, "Dad, I'm right here," with tears running down his cheeks. That small moment, that simple sincerity, would become the anchor that kept me alive through everything that followed. Days passed and I watched everyone. Watched how they moved. Watched what they did with the news. Denise was suddenly going out more, saying she needed fresh air to think. She stopped cooking dinner, stopped asking how I felt, and almost stopped looking me in the eyes completely. I found her on the phone late at night whispering, not crying, whispering. Every time I walked into the room she quickly changed the screen. My instincts I worked so hard to ignore began to shake inside me like a warning I no longer could silence. Michael barely came home. I discovered he stopped his classes 2 weeks earlier without telling me. He was always angry, impatient and dismissive. When I tried to talk to him about my so-called last month, he simply said, "You'll be fine, Pops, you always are, I got things to do." It felt like he had already checked out of being my son. Jasmine grew distant in her own way. She was cold, distracted, more concerned about posting pictures online than asking me how my heart was holding up. She even joked about my condition with her friends on a call I overheard. That part cut deep, because she used to be my little girl who followed me everywhere. Caleb, however, stayed by my side as much as he could. Every night he asked if I was scared, if I needed anything, if he could sit with me even if it was just to watch TV. He was the only one who looked at me like I mattered. That boy had a soul purer than sunlight through clean glass. I decided to push the test further. I told my family the doctor recommended I rest and stop working immediately. That meant no more income for a while. The house went silent when I said it. Denise was the first to speak. Not to ask about my health, not to show concern, but to ask how we were supposed to manage the bills. She said it with annoyance too, like I was ruining her day. I told her I had some savings and she frowned as if the money already belonged to her. That was when the real masks began to slip. 2 days later I heard her talking in the kitchen, telling someone on the phone, "It won't take long. The doctor said a month." "Yes, I know, I just have to stay calm and wait." She laughed softly, a sound I had not heard in months, but that laugh was not for me. My chest tightened, not from the fake condition I claimed to have, but from realization. My wife of 25 years was waiting for me to die. I needed to be sure. So one evening I pretended to fall unconscious in the living room. I heard her footsteps rush toward me, but instead of panic, she whispered, "Oh God, is this it?" with relief in her voice. She checked if I was breathing, sighed when she realized I still was, then walked away, calling someone immediately. "No, not yet, he's still breathing," she said, frustration dripping heavily from her tone. That moment killed every piece of love I had left for her. Michael grew even colder. I overheard him telling his girlfriend he could not wait to get the house once I passed on, because he had big plans for the place. Plans he did not even think to discuss with me. Plans that involved selling my workshop, selling my tools and using the cash to fund his business idea that he never showed commitment toward. Jasmine wanted my insurance money. She did not know I was awake the night she argued with her mother saying, "At least after he's gone we can finally breathe and I can get my own car." My own daughter said she would breathe better once I was gone. Caleb, however, every night prayed beside my bed for my healing. He held my hand as if keeping my pulse steady with his touch. He told me he didn't want to lose his dad. That boy, that beautiful boy, was my only light in the darkness. I decided it was time to go all the way. I staged a fake emergency. Pretended I had severe chest pain and told Denise to take me to the hospital. Her reaction was cold, annoyed, as if she was being pulled away from something fun. At the hospital I had arranged an actor friend of mine to pretend to be a specialist. He told my wife that I had a 50-50 chance to survive the next 48 hours. Denise did not cry. She did not hold my hand. Instead she asked the doctor if life support was expensive and if insurance covered it. That was when I knew without a shadow of doubt that the woman I gave everything to had never loved me the way I loved her. The next morning she did not even stay with me. She said she had errands, but I later found out she went to meet a man she had been seeing for 7 months. A man she planned to be with after my passing. She told him, "It won't be long now." She was not even hiding it anymore. My 2 older kids never showed up at the hospital. Only Caleb stayed until he fell asleep on the chair beside my bed, still holding my fingers. I decided to execute my final plan, the unbearable revenge they all earned. When I was discharged, pretending to still be weak, I called all of them into the living room. I told them the doctor gave me the final results. They all leaned in with expectation, but not concern. I said, "Turns out I am not dying at all." Silence cut the air, then confusion, then panic on the faces of those who had been hoping to bury me. Denise froze. Michael stiffened. Jasmine swallowed hard. Only Caleb smiled with pure joy and jumped into my arms. I looked at each one of them slowly. I told them I knew everything, the phone calls, the whispers, the impatience, the plans they made for my death. I watched their faces drain of color. Denise tried to deny everything until I played the recordings I had collected. She fell to her knees begging, not for me, but out of fear of losing the future she planned with another man. My revenge was simple but devastating. I told them they had until sunrise to pack and leave my house, the house I built, the house my hands paid for. I told them I already transferred ownership to Caleb alone. I told them the savings they counted on were moved, the insurance beneficiaries changed, and that legally they were entitled to nothing from me. Denise screamed, cried, begged. Michael cursed. Jasmine burst into tears. I did not move. I did not soften. I had died already in their hearts long before this moment. Now they felt the emptiness they created. Before they left, I looked them dead in the eyes and said calmly, "I only pretended to die for a month, but all of you showed me you buried me years ago." Then I closed the door and locked it. Now it is just me and my youngest son, the only one who truly loved me without expecting anything. We rebuilt our home with peace, with honesty and with gratitude. I learned something powerful. Sometimes pretending to die is the only way to figure out who deserves to stay in your life. And sometimes the greatest revenge is giving people exactly what they showed you they wanted. A life without you. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place?